and welcome. I have not been live in 2 months. And there's a reason for it. And I want to talk to you guys about what's been going on. And I am back. I mean, this is my first live back, but there's a reason, definitely a reason for it. And I'm sure some of you have been feeling it. Um, like the reason that I haven't been coming live and the reason that I've pulled back from pretty much creating all social media in the last 2 months since I went on vacation in June. So I had to come, like, figure out, first of all, when I was ready to reemerge. I've kind of been hiding um, because the energy has not been conducive for expressing outwardly. The energy has been exhausting, it's been overwhelming, it's been a number of things. And there's actually astrological reasons for that, like the not reasons, I guess, energies that have been coming at us, but astrology speaks to why it has been the way it has been, and what's going on with all of that. So, personally, for me, I've had this energy has hit me in a really unexpected way. I've felt more This has been like the heaviest energy I think I have experienced in over 30 years. Like, I've talked to so many people and everyone's feeling the same way. And this has been going on since June, like the third week of June. So if you're feeling it, put it in the comments because I want to hear from you. I want to know. Hello, hello. And I am on TikTok, Facebook, both my Facebook business and personal, and on both my YouTube channels. Because, and I'll explain all that in a little bit, because I haven't been live, I started getting messages. People were like, "Are you and your family okay? Worried about you. We're fine." And I'm fine. But I've been watching all kinds of things go on in social media and then managing this energy, this extremely high Pat, long time no see, this extremely intense energy for the last couple of months. Again, it hit me in a way that I was not expecting, nor have I dealt with. And I would say none of us have ever dealt with the amount of heaviness, overwhelm, and fatigue that we have felt consistently without a break for 2 solid months. So I went on vacation June 15th with every um expectation that I would come back and just pick up where I left off. That is not what happened. Everything about the way that the planets have lined up since Mercury went retrograde in June, and it came out of retrograde, but we have other planets hitting. Saturn is the biggest one, placement of Jupiter, and then we've got all this aspecting energy right now. And for the last few weeks, especially the last 2 weeks, we've been in a solar energy high. So, like, we're getting CMEs constantly, and we have another one inbound tomorrow. And that does another thing to us physically. So, and tell me in the comments if it's hitting you like this: more mental and physical than emotional. The emotion, I'm not saying that emotions are not being affected, because certainly when you can't get things moving, it does eventually hit your emotions, but it is physical, like fatigue, exhaustion for no reason. Some of you may have been getting sick. Like, I had to go through dental stuff a couple weeks ago, literally had to go through invasive dental stuff. And something's going on from side effects from chemo with my mouth. I've got bone loss and all kinds of problems. Um, so I had to have invasive scaling done, and that was no fun. So that was a whole week. Like, I had to have it done in 2 separate days, like Tuesday and a Friday. So for the whole week, my mouth was out of commission. And that was just week before last. So I didn't want to really talk for good reason. I couldn't feel half my mouth for 2 days solid. And then in between that, my mouth was healing. My gums were healing. But like, that does not explain where has Bernadette been for 2 months. I have I have also been feeling very much in this state of massive confusion, um, and that's Neptune, where Neptune's been placed. There's been this fog. Saturn, in Vedic, Saturn is in Pisces. If you're looking at Western astrology, that's not so. Saturn's astrology in Western says it's moved into Aries. And to tell you the difference between Western and Vedic, like Vedic's the older system, but Vedic's more the soul and the literally more of the real kind of deeper layers of what goes on from what I can tell you from my comparison. And then Western astrology is more on the surface, right? It's not as deep. It does not go as deep. So it's more like surface level personality, the mask you wear. Where Vedic to me is more what we experience on a soul level. My energy's been down more than usual. Yeah, you're not alone. You're exhausted too, Brenda. Okay. So like we have had, and if you guys want me to get into the breakdown, I can. I don't know that it's necessary. Like I did it for you guys who are in hidden wisdom, so you guys understand what's going on planetarily. But I think a lot of people that watch these types of streams don't necessarily care about the technicalities. You're not here to learn astrology. You just want to know, why the hell do I feel so bad? Am I right or am I wrong? For those of you who have followed me for years, I don't know if you remember this. Tell me in the comments. I have said multiple times throughout the last 10 years, when I go quiet, there's a reason for it. When I go quiet, um, a lot of times it's because I said everything that I meant to say and pay attention, like wake up. You were given warnings, and that's part of why I didn't worry too much. But then I started getting DMs from people, and everyone's like, "Are you okay? I haven't seen you." Wasn't making videos, wasn't posting content. I was not coming live. Like, this is the first live I've done in 2 months. Because you know that saying, if you have nothing nice to say, keep your mouth shut. This energy has been so incredibly challenging for me with the overwhelm. Y'all know, like, I connect the dots. I hold the big picture, right? I am a Sag, whether Vedic or Western, I am a Sag sun. Like, I can see the entire picture. I'm an empath. I'm a sensitive. I'm a clairvoyant. I'm a medium. I take in all of that. So for those of you who are empaths, tell me in the comments that you are an empath, you're not an empath. Like, if you are an empath, you have been feeling this stuff equally hard. I will also say, if you are neurodivergent in any way, shape, or form, um, literally right now, and for the last couple of months, the energy has hit everyone that's sensitive and neurodivergent. Whatever way your sensitivities show up, come through, you label as or identify with, doesn't matter. This energy has felt equally harder for those of us who are sensitive for this reason. We are picking up the collective energy. So the masses, everybody's going through the same energy. So we all have to go through it too. We don't get to escape it. I wish we did. I really wish we did. We don't. So while we're going through all of this massive energy that's very contracted, like, we are not in a time of expansion. And I will talk to you about that in a minute, because it has changed where I'm focusing right now and what I'm teaching in Charm Life. And probably will be talking to those of you who are in Hidden Wisdom about this, because we entered this new cycle, and even manifesting does not work the way that we are used to it working, because we were used to working in expansive energy, expansion energy. We are now in contraction. And that is a cycle that we are going to be in for quite some time. So I had to get to where I could communicate outwardly in a way that y'all could understand. Does that make sense? But I was also going through the energy, and I was not expecting it to hit me at the level at which it did, because, and then my family as well. I got 2 neurodivergent children, and we're pretty sure my dad's neurodivergent too. The people with autism who have super sensitive hearing get super sensitive sight, vision, to light, like you're sensitive to light, on top of being an empath. the neurodivergent people were getting hit on all levels, like exacerbated and multiplied, magnified, to the point where it was hard for them to keep up. Now, I will tell you, tomorrow's eclipse is going to bring a bit of a shift, which is why I came on today, because it has, I noticed the last few hours, like earlier today, it was okay. Then we hit a lull and it came down. But tomorrow, I'm expecting some pretty big energies, both astrologically and from the incoming solar flare. But because of where my chart finally moved this week, I can think straight, which also means I can communicate again. But for June and July, outward communication was off the table. I probably would not have made any sense if I did come on. I probably um, would have just spun in circles and or had a lot of negative things to say. There's a lot going on in the news cycle as well, as I'm sure y'all are aware of. And I needed to figure out what exactly I'm doing and why. Just last week, and I'm going to say this, I'm not giving out the link. I'm going to say this, and it's a private link for those of you who follow me. Just last week, I opened up psychic readings for the first time in I don't know how long. I sent out an email to my list because things were so heavy that my guides were like, you got to come back that way and start giving guidance again. Are you guys that are watching right now, you guys all aware of the vision I had when I was 25 about the time that we're in now? I've spoken about it here and there. I wrote about it in my book. So if you read my memoir, you know what the vision, right? The time of darkness, the wall hits. What's Bernadette's job? Get them into the light. Not to save people, but to help people get into the light that were getting squashed by mass consciousness and the energies. And man, did that time become hyper apparent the last 2 months. You guys agree? Like, it's been hard to keep your head above water. We are used to being able to rise above the energy, right? And I've taught this, like right above it, right above it. Contraction energy is very different than expansion energy. When we're living in an expansive energy, hard energies can come, but we can still ride above it. Contraction energy, contraction cycles, when everything is coming, like squishing in, and systems that no longer are supported because they were built on the wrong thing, which is the period we're in right now. When that contraction comes, I've talked about this for a couple of years now, the deconstruction of those systems happen. We are watching it. You guys agree? Yes or no? Like, things are falling apart at the seams. And just when you think it can't get any worse, it gets worse. You get hit with another piece of news. And I think tomorrow's going to bring even more news. Because it's been hard just to hold my own to get through a day, I have not wanted to come on. I have shared in my groups. I've kept up with my clients. I've done like what I can do, but nowhere near what I'm used to being able to get done. I wanted to message you, but I knew that everyone's been heavy. You guys are welcome to message me. Please understand, like, first of all, I don't know what's going on with my email for my website, but I've gotten messages from people saying they emailed me or responded to one of my emails. I'm not getting those. I don't know what the hell's going on with my G Suite for my website, but not all those emails are coming through. You're welcome to message me on social media too, but I don't get those right away. Just if you're bound and determined to talk to me, your best bet is just to book a session. Well, like I said, I've made psychic readings affordable and available, a limited number of them, and a bunch of people took me up on it. So last week I was busy, this week too. And thankfully, my gift works great for everybody else. It takes a lot more work when I'm just using it for me. Angela, what's up? Good to see you, girl. So there's a reason I did that. And I wish I could tell you, because I watched a bunch of the God, there's a bunch of nonsense in the tarot communities, the witch talk communities, and all this stuff on TikTok. Um, there's a bunch of BS going on. And I have not, for a long time, I've pulled psychic readings off the table as labeled psychic readings. Y'all know I'm a natural born clairvoyant. I done professional psychic work for the last 26 years. So those of you who follow me, you know this, you know my accuracy rate. But I'm not about to compete with a bunch of nonsense or feel like, hey, Angelica, feel like I have to produce for some live stream to get gifts and all those things. Like, that isn't my thing. I'm here to help, um, see you guys through the hard times and do whatever I can as far as what Spirit says. But when it's heavy for you, understand it's going to be heavy for me too. I miss you too, Miss Susan. It's good to see you. How much are they? So they are $250 for an hour and $130 for half an hour. I did make two options available, but the link is private. You are not going to find the link unless you're on my email list. Michelle, you're on my email list, so you should have gotten that email last week. So just search up Bernadette at BernadetteGold.com in your email, and that will come up. I'm not saying that I won't do it for the public. What I am super resistant to, and why I don't sort of, I don't know, market myself as a clairvoyant. Most people that have worked with me know damn well I'm a clairvoyant. I don't hide that. I mean, hell, my whole memoir talks all about my spiritual path. But I don't want to do readings the way people expect them to be done. Like, I use my gifts to deliver truth to the person that's going to help them grow. I don't sugarcoat shit. I don't make stuff up. I don't care if you call me back. My job is not to make someone dependent on getting psychic readings. My job is to help you get realigned to who you really are so that you can get on your path and to answer honestly so that you get back in your power. Too much for the last 26 years, I have seen this, which is why I stopped offering readings as readings. Like, I do coaching, high level coaching, and I always use my gifts in my programs. I always use my gifts. What I don't like is where people think that I'm going to answer the way they want me to answer. I'm going to answer the way the information comes through. End of story. And which leads me back to, where have I been? I have watched a bunch of the readers on social media, on TikTok, on YouTube, even on Facebook, and all of their crap has been ever so positive. Oh, Sagittarius, this is your month. Oh, Scorpio, you've got a windfall coming. I just did a mediumship reading for someone the other day, and psychic reading. And she was like, is it true? Like, they're saying I have a windfall. And she lives in Vegas. And I was like, I don't really see it like that unless there's something specific tied to it. Sometimes a windfall will come through an inheritance, and I'll see that. Sometimes it's going to come through a settlement that you already had going, and I'll see that. When it comes to games of chance, they're called games of chance for a reason. So when I see these psychics predicting this crap, and I use the word psychic loosely, those of you who know me know I am a psychic by birth, not by choice. Um, I do not believe in probably 95 to 98% of the psychics that call themselves psychic. There's a rare number of people that I believe that are actually honest clairvoyants, and psychics. And hey, Jem, and there's a bunch of bullshit. And I mean, when I was doing professional reading subcontracting on Keen.com for years and years and years, that's all I saw was a bunch of bullshit. It was all a bunch of bullshit. Like, the majority of the people were milking readings and telling clients what they wanted to hear. And then if it didn't happen, they always had an excuse. Sometimes timing's not going to be right on, right? Sometimes timing's going to be a little off. Hey, you go live Vegas. How are you? That's not within control. And not all, like, any information you get from a psychic reading and any information a psychic delivers, the one thing I will always say, A, we're not God, so you can't be 100%. But if it's specific shit, then specific stuff's going to happen. This generalized happy, joy readings that I see people delivering for the last few months drive me up a wall. This is the very reason I stopped offering readings, because people want to feel good. It doesn't feel good, does it? Tell me in the comments. Has any of those readings, have you guys watched them? And the readers that are delivering them, that everything's great and everything's fine and it's all going to shift and it's all going to be good. Like, has any of it come true? See, during times of contraction, Lillian, what's up? During times of contraction and during times where systems that were not built on a true foundation, a real foundation, are falling, are collapsing, which is what we're seeing. Healthcare, our government, education, like there's a million things I could name right now that are collapsing, right? Fake information, false information, and false spiritual BS. Religion is another one of those systems that is falling. When those things happen, I don't necessarily want to jump in and be like, I told you so, or be like, and this is what you should believe instead. I'm going to watch it. And to watch it and not participate in it, especially when the energy is not conducive, um, for me to wade through that much energetic bullshit, and that's been a lot of it, means that I have to do what I got to do, go quiet. And when I do come out, it's usually because I have something to say. Like, I don't like making content, and for a long time, you know, I was with this other agency on TikTok and they expected me to go live all the time. And then it was battles and I don't do battles. I will never do battles. I don't have time for it. I don't have energy for it. And I don't want to extract gifts from people. I want to be helpful. If y'all want to gift me because I'm on TikTok, fine, whatever. But you know what? I'd rather you save that stuff, go donate it to someone who needs it, or give it, not that I don't need it, like give it direct, because TikTok takes so much money and so do all these other platforms. So like to gift on those platforms it's not worth it. Try to tune into spirit for my own messages as well. We all should. Even if you get a psychic reading, even if you hear someone like me who's like, okay, this is what I'm getting, you still need to run that through your filters. I will tell you, the number one thing that I think everybody needs right now, aside from unplugging from the nonsense, is discernment. Your discernment needs to grow. That skill needs to be developed. Between AI slap and creators copying each other's video scripts because they're performing well, and you're just hearing the same thing recorded by multiple people, to the point where it's not even enjoyable to be on social media anymore, because you don't even know who the original creator was. People are stealing each other's contents. You need discernment, right? I've had to really sit with some heavy things the last few weeks. And like I said, clarity has not really been available. Has it for you? Have you felt super clear in knowing what direction you're going, knowing what direction the world is going, knowing what to plan for? Because if you haven't, A, you're not alone. And B, that was what the energy was there for, was to shake up what you're used to. Jim, I had to take a break from it. Yeah, same, same. And I'm not sorry for it. I've So here's the difference between where we, like, for decades, we have been in expansion. We have been in a place where the belief systems, the structures that were built around us, that we were taught, programmed into us, the American dream, right? Things we can rely on. We bought into capitalism. We bought into retirement. We bought into working for the man and credit scores and buy a house and blah blah blah. Where has that gotten us? Where are we with even just think about like the job market right now? Everybody's realizing that everything that we've been sold and told has been a bunch of BS capitalistic garbage. And it's not, like, that system is falling apart. We are in the awakening, but the awakening is not a pleasant experience for anyone who's gone through an awakening. And the way that so many spiritual gurus have talked about it through the years always made me angry too, because they always talk about it from a very soft, warm and fuzzy place. Awakening is not warm and fuzzy. Awakening comes out of crisis. It also comes out of contraction. For any of you who've been through a dark night of the soul, that always precedes your awakening or your initiation. True or not true? I thought about you this morning while I was walking on the property. Goldfinches were flying around. Feeling a bit better than June. Yeah, today's the first day that I did not feel like I was just wanting to throw the covers over my head. I was trying to push through it. All of the last couple months was push through it. And I had projects I was working on. I've been building my own charting software because the chart, even in Solar Fire, does not chart Vedic charts right. So I've been building my own program, but awakening is being in survival mode for real. Jem's saying true. Yeah. So you understand, those of you who've been through a dark night of the soul and an awakening, you guys understand. And you don't go through one, you go through many, as many as you need to get to that next level. Growth, as I've said before, does not happen in comfort. It happens in discomfort. People have been asleep at the wheel. If they hadn't been, we wouldn't have the administration running the show the way that we're running it. They're running it right now. And so we've long said people need to wake up. Yeah, they do. But guess what? It's going to take for them to wake up. Huge discomfort and crisis, a dark night of the soul on a level for a collective awakening to happen on a level nobody wants to have to experience it. Think about your own awakenings and your own dark nights of the soul for a minute. An individual walking through it, that's one thing. But now you take a mass consciousness, the collective, everybody going through some level of it at the same time. Now, put yourself in the seat of being an empath or neurodivergent. How does that feel in you when it's now no longer just you going through it? Everybody's going through it. Everybody's going through it, which means the vibration, the frequency, the whatever you want to call it, that everybody's sending out is survival mode. On top of all the things that are happening are also putting us there. Like I've long said, COVID put everyone in survival mode and no one ever got out. Like a lot of people are still operating in survival mode because even though COVID ended, everything changed and everything turned. Right. And then since January 2025, we've seen one attack on our freedom after another, after another, after another, after another. And it's ongoing, like every single freaking day, ongoing. And if you're a woman or you're not white, like you're brown skin, you know, as well as I do, that it's not feeling safe out there because of the push that way. So you have all that energy coming at you. You have all that energy going out at the same time and affecting all the people who actually have any level of sensitivity, which is going to make whatever energies that already are meant to be contracted and feeling heavy and confusing worse. So I just had a huge dark night of the soul. Lessons. Yeah, it's all about lessons. And we're going through it collectively. So I don't understand personally. I don't understand the reason why some of these readers, is it because they don't know, they're not educated enough in spiritual understandings? Is it because they just care about growing an audience, they want everyone to like them? Why is it that they're willing to just push the fluff? Because that bothers me. But it also did something else to me. Seeing the rise of nonsense and bullshit and dishonesty and contradictory teachings and everyone rising up to be the content creator expert when they have no real like historical backing and experience in this stuff has made me decide, um, and this has been weeks of discussion with spirit, meditation, journaling, and really working through my own energy on it. It has made me decide that I'm going to be doing more focused stuff on what's going on and helping everyone kind of get through it, sharing some of my visions of what I see coming. And I want to hear from you guys. Do you want me to? Because a lot of people, when I tell you what I feel coming, what we're going through, why it's happening, have called me fearmonger when I try and give warnings, which the last the last videos that I had on social media that started to blow up were blowing up because of the negativity of people not wanting to hear it. People tuned completely out. I don't want to know what's going on in the world because, if I don't know, and then I had spiritual people telling me over and over and over again, love and light. You need to be in love and light. Love and light doesn't mean shit. That's like telling someone thoughts and prayers. Like, it doesn't mean anything if it is not practically applied in a state of action and being. Telling someone love and light is telling someone to, like, literally avoid reality. There's no avoiding it. All of us are being affected one way or another, and to think that you're not is delusional at this point. The price of gas is up, the cost of inflation and housing and healthcare, all unaffordable. I don't know how anybody can think they're escaping this unless you're in the 1%, at which point, if you're in the 1% and you're not helping change the way things are going and you continue to hoard versus help everybody else out, you're in for it because you're going to fall too. Like, day one. What do you mean, Pat? Day one? Is today my day one of coming out? It's been a weird ride the last couple months. Like, I've sat with a lot of heavy stuff. Um, just looking at what's happening in the world. I've sat with a lot of conversations with spirit asking, what am I going to do? For those of you who did not know me when I went through my cancer journey through 24 and 25, yeah, I got quiet in social media there too, except I was doing live streams. The orange one was going to take care of everything from day one. He has, for him and his freaking swamp. He filled the swamp. He brought the swamp monsters with him. He's never told the truth. I don't know anyone would believe he's going to start now. Anywho, um, when I went through my cancer journey, I was sharing with you guys, those of you who followed me for way back, y'all know, I told you that spirit told me through that whole journey of chemo and radiation and surgery that I had to go through, like, that we would all be in the future, not too distant future. And this was April 2022. When I first got diagnosed and got hospitalized, they said, you are going to go through this. Cause what do you say when you're diagnosed with stage 4 cancer? First thing you say is, why me? So, like everybody else, that was my question. Why? What did I do? And why me? Why me? Why now? And they said, you're going to go through this before everyone else. I said, go through what? And they said, deconstruction. Because where things are going in the upcoming years, the planet itself, collective consciousness, humanity, and every life form will go through a period of deconstruction where everything you thought you could count on falls apart and contracts and goes away. If you know anything about manifesting, you know that in order for you to create something, there has to be an empty space for it to land, right? If we want to create a different world, things have to be removed. They have to fall and they have to fail in order for there to be a blank space. The universe abhors a vacuum. It will fill it. It will fill it when that That space is open. That space has been filled with nonsense, inequality, injustice, imbalance for decades. A society rises or falls together. So you're definitely correct. Yeah, for real. So when I went through that period, I remember there were points, none of the chemo journey was fun at all. In fact, sadly, I thought radiation was easier, even though I had to go every single day for 28, what was it? Yeah, 28 treatments than chemo was. And in the middle of chemo, which lasted months and months, there was a few times where I just wanted to quit. It got so hard mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. Like my entire life got hit at one time in ways that I don't feel like I had a choice. Like all of a sudden, a diagnosis changed my entire life. You can't work anymore the way that you're used to. And oh, by the way, you're going to be hospitalized. So, and you're not going to be able to think straight for a couple of years. And you're not going to know if you can eat from moment to moment or day to day. Like everything I relied on during that journey was removed from me. And I had to live with the uncertainty day to day. Tell me, just from describing it, whether you've been through cancer or not is not the point. Does it not feel like that same thing the last bit? Everything that we have come to rely on, water, electricity, food, shelter, healthcare, education, a system that protects us, doesn't stalk us and remove all of our rights. All tentative at best right now. Yes or no? Like, I want to hear from you guys. What if what I'm saying is actually landing, and does it make sense to you? Because if it doesn't, like, girl, I've been avoiding coming on live stream. I've been avoiding content in general, avoiding anything that created so much resistance in me. And literally, social media for 2 solid months has made every time I attempted, I was met with a wall of resistance, like so much resistance, the fatigue, the confusion, the anxiety, and I don't get anxiety, that I felt would magnify and multiply to the point I'm like, I can't. And it wasn't because I don't have confidence on camera. I've been doing live streams forever. I've been doing content for a very long time. But it was like, there was no amount of coffee or positive talk that I could get me to overcome that resistance. Day-to-day routines different than a few years ago, just grocery shopping. Yeah, literally. So the one thing I want to try to communicate to you guys, because that was a very recent battle, right? I'm trying to rebuild, trying to find my footing after going through that for 16 months. And then like it's 2 years now. But I still feel like my body's still deteriorated over going through chemo. I mean, that's what's going on with my mouth and why I had to have massive dental work. They wanted to pull one of my teeth, and I'm like, if you pull a tooth, I'm gonna have a missing tooth. Like I can't get any implants, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Common, my type of chemo in general, but because I had an aggressive chemo, it is known years later, massive bone loss, problems with your teeth. And I'm like, if dentures are at next, then I'll fly to another country and get dentures. I stopped coming on in November. Yeah. Yeah. So with the journey that I went through, and because it was recent, and because they specifically told me that my journey going through cancer was going to, and sharing it live was going to help people understand what was coming. And that I talked about the phase of deconstruction before we rebuilt during that journey. Do you guys remember that were following me back then? Do you remember me talking about what Spirit said about we're going to go through a phase of deconstruction? And I think a lot of people didn't really understand what I was saying back then. In 24, things were semi-stable, right? Like it was okay. And even 25 was not as bad as all of 2026. It's like 2026 hit, and all of a sudden things just contracted that much harder. The planets, you can read it in the planets, it's set that way. It's in the stars. So, from a standpoint of it was meant to be, yes, that's true. How we ride through it is so important. And that's what I really want to help you guys understand right now. One of the reasons that people are so disoriented right now, and why even this period of time in some ways has been a bit harder than what I went through with going through my cancer battle. With chemo, you have an end date. You know when they're going to stop. Like, I knew how many treatments I was going to have. Then I had to go through radiation. So that sort of stretch, but there was always like there were dates of endings. There was a certainty to how long I would have to go through something before conceivably and possibly it would be done. What's getting to most people right now in our day to day, we don't have a solid end date. There's no end date to when the uncertainty ends. There's no end date. And astrology won't tell us whether or not there's an end date to how hard it is right now. Trust me, I've looked. I continue to look. Like, I don't think I have charted as much astrology and followed the charts the way that I have in the last 6 months than the rest of my whole life. Trying to understand and compare the cycle that we're in now to previous cycles in recorded history. Because we don't have certainty, any one of you that have been in survival mode clearly identified it and you understand what it means. You know that one of the things that you always try to create when you come out of trauma is some feeling of control. Even if it's perceived control, not real control. We all want to be somewhat in control. In order to feel like there's some level of security, we also need to know what we're walking towards. Like, and this is true of anything. When you want to create something, you need to have a vision of it and walk towards it. The vision that most people had for their lives did not include the bullshit that we're going through right now. I tell me if I'm wrong. Like, did any of you think at any given time that this was going to be our lives? 2026, this many things happening at the same time, like rapidly flooding coming about in information on top of natural disaster. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the wildfire map across the globe right now. Like, when you look at it, all the fires happening across the globe, it's more than disturbing. And for a lot of people, it's scary. When you have an end date to something, it's more of a certainty and there's a little bit more hope, right? Like, you at least know when the end date is and you have something to hold on to, some sort of hope of it will be over. We don't have that right now. And for anyone who was in survival mode, and like I said, I think collectively a lot of people were in survival mode since the COVID lockdowns and all of that happened. And then everything has just kind of rolled. And then, of course, since 2025 in January, with the big orange buffoon, a lot of us have been like, holy shit, what is happening? Right? And when will it end? And people are like, the midterms, vote in the midterm. But that's not a guarantee that it's going to end. because we've got other people in this administration and the Republican Party that would like nothing more than to just have life be the way they want it to be with their people and their weird beliefs. Without an end to that, it adds to the anxiety. So when the energies come and you're looking at all of these things happening, increased food prices, oh my God, we're in the Iran war. What's it going to do to the gas prices? Is there going to be more shortages here and there? And what about the rising energy costs? And now we're fighting data centers because towns are running out of water. And they're already saying that it's going to affect the utility grid. Like so many places. It's hitting us from so many places. And there's no end date. Thanks, Lola. There's no end date, right? So, of course, it's going to feel worse. So, I'm going to tell you guys the way we get through this time period versus what I've said in the past of how to get through it. It's going to be slightly different because contraction requires a different set of energy. And what's trying to be birthed right now is different than what we have the energy and what was being asked of us in the past, recent past, and in our lifetimes. Never thought how our lives would be going like it is now. Everything on earth has changed. Yeah. We have had flooding here, plus 90-degree heat. Yeah, it's unbelievably ridiculous, everything going on. So when a whole entire society for decades and our entire lives has been built upon productivity and accomplishment and achievement, and suddenly the energy is literally removed to achieve things, to get things done. Like it, tell me if this makes sense to you guys, because this is what it feels like. Not only did someone unplug us, like someone pulled the plug, there's no electricity coming into our bodies, like it's gone, which the solar weather and solar wind can affect that as well. But not only did they unplug us, but then they also connected something to drain us of all energy. So you're not only not plugged in, you actually have things that are actively sucking your energy and life force out of you. That's the way it has felt. And that's the difference between periods of hard energy coming during an expansion time, an era of expansion, versus an era of contraction. When contraction energy is there, you can't rise above it. You have to ride through it by being inside of it without getting sucked down the drain with the things being removed. Different place to be than the way I've taught people how to survive and out create the matrix. Either way, I think the midterms are going to end up leading to a lot of my I don't know. And there's the one thing I will say, the one thing I know astrologically speaking around the midterms, October 31st, part of this really testing energy actually shifts. It ends on October 31st, right in time for the midterms. So the energy that's been supporting authoritarianism and capitalism and the corruption, that supporting energy for that goes away. That stops and then it turns. And then the energy turns more towards the collective, right? It turns more towards the people. So for the last couple months, a lot of us have felt this inward pull. We don't want to engage out there. We don't want to be pulled into the nonsense. We don't want, like, we haven't had the energy to do anything but really be with ourselves, not do, be. And that is the big difference. I know a lot of people have talked about it in the past, learn how to be instead of do. And that was a nice concept. Now we're being forced to be because the doing energy has not been available. But what has been there, because it didn't come with like a warning label, has been a lot of mental judgment, a lot of like, what's wrong with me, a lot of self-doubt. And then you bring Neptune into the picture in its placement, and you bring Jupiter combust, not exalted, like this literally overshadowing the sun in a lot of ways. It has created this space where it's like, I don't want to engage out there. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, super tired. And I don't know what I'm building towards. How do you build towards something when everything's falling apart? So the people that you see on social media that are all like, life is grand, life is great. Look, I've got a Ferrari and blah, blah, blah. And I'm manifesting this and manifesting that, are either lying or they're in that place where, I said certain things in capitalism are actually getting fed right now, right before it falls. So good for you. It goes against, like, for me to make money at the expense of hurting somebody goes against my values. And I will not be a sellout. There's like a separation. Hey, Leah, there's a separation of energy that's happening right now. Some of us are being really understand that you're either going to live your values in alignment to your values, who you really are, or you're going to go the other direction. And then the karmic tide's going to hit. And that starts in November. Just want to sleep. Yeah. And it's not even, here's the messed up part. The circadian rhythm has flipped. So a lot of us are exhausted during the day, can't get up off the couch, can't think straight. But then nighttime comes, mind's like, hello, it's time to be awake, right? And you can't go to sleep, or you've got disrupted sleep. The entire thing, like, look, I've even questioned because it doesn't feel natural. Some of this stuff does not feel natural. I've questioned whether or not energy weapons are being played with right now in order to lull people into numbness so that we just don't have the energy to fight. We don't have the energy to protest. We don't have the energy to stop the nonsense going on. And Megan, I don't know whether they are using energy weapons. Funny, because I saw some news report earlier on a alternative channel that was talking about some of the investigations into the things that cause Havana syndrome. The energy has not felt normal. We know they have energy weapons. They've admitted to it. We know they have sonar, and they have things that they use for crowd control. We know that DARPA's a real thing. Like, once upon a time, it was a conspiracy theory. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. Are they using microwaves and things like that on top of all this stuff going on to try and control us? I don't know. Is it possible? At this point, freaking anything's possible. I don't put anything evil past the rulers of the world right now for whatever selfish greed they got going on. I just don't. The last 2 months have been a roller coaster. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Med beds. Yeah, well, the problem with even med beds is they are unaffordable. I'm sorry, but like, all the things that should be able to work are unaffordable. But I will tell you guys, like, I have frequency generators. I have Rife. I have Scalar. I have things to help with energy. And that has not been able to lift me out of a lot of this stuff because, a lot of it's collective. And then the people around me in my family, they're going through it too, whether it's health-wise, mentally, or physically, they're exhausted too. There's no escaping it. Usually during time of expansion, you can escape it. One or two people might be going through hard times, spiritual awakenings happening. You're talking collective. dark night of the soul, collective need for awakening, systems collapsing, people not knowing who they are without their jobs, without their religion, without their political party, without their bank account balance. And like literally, people are losing their minds. Those of you who've already been through a dark night of the soul, you know, it is that moment where it's like everything you thought you knew no longer, like, it comes into question. You don't know if what you believed all these years is true. That is very disorienting. So we are just at a bizarre time where everything is highly unpredictable. Spirit did say to me on multiple occasions, because I continually pray and meditate for calm and peace to the earth, you know, we've got species disappearing and dying off. These wildfires aren't just killing trees, killing animals too. We've got die-offs happening in the ocean, right? We've got problems with growing food because of drought. Like the UK is getting hit with massive drought and everything else on top of it. Like there's so much. And I asked Spirit about that. It was like, is this the Earth's response to the energy that's coming at us, right? The shifts and the changes and the cycle that we're in. They said yes. And they said, or is it the collective energy projected outward? And they said, yes, that too. Planet is alive. It, equally as us, is getting hit by this collective heavy energy and has to vent it, process it, right? Experience it. So, how does it show up on the planet? Wildfires, flooding, earth shakes and quakes, volcanoes, eruptions, explosions, typhoons, right? And it is both the fact that this energy is hitting the planet, but it's also us living connected very much to the living heartbeat of the planet. And it is our physical reality being manifested outward, what we're all internally feeling. It's both. And it's not like those things are happening to us, things are happening alongside us, in part because of us. So, how do we help it? We do our damn best to get into the place of alignment of the higher values, the superior being, the tenets of peace. But where does it start? It starts with you. It starts in your head. It starts with accepting the fact that this is like a time, no other time that we have experienced and lived through in recorded history. We are in a cycle that none of us in any of our lifetimes have been through so harshly. Because even when I look up the astrology and compare it, like this is like comparable to the Gilded Age, different kind of Gilded Age. But during that time, the planets and the way they were stationed were in almost an easier aspect than what we're dealing with. Or maybe it was because, too, less population density. We have a huge population density. There's a lot of factors that come into why are things happening the way that they're happening and so rapidly? And I think there's many reasons for it. But when I asked Spirit about it, I'm like, what does this mean moving forward? How do we get through it the best way possible? How do we get through it? And they said, really, really, truly understand that the being aspect is what it means is focusing on how you're being first for you. How are you treating yourself? Are you beating yourself up because you can't? Thanks, Jem. Because you can't do like you normally do because you're not producing as much income as you normally do, and you're not getting as many steps in and working out, and you just don't have capacity to be there for other people like you did. Are you beating yourself up for that? Because that is not the type of being you want to be in. right? Acceptance is super important right now. Self-acceptance first and acceptance of others. However anyone's handling this right now, God bless them, you know? I don't even literally, like, all I gotta say to people, as long as you're not hurting anyone else through this shit, you're doing okay. Like, good job. That's reality. People that think to be spiritual means to never get angry, to never experience frustration, to never want, like, don't ever have the feelings and thoughts to quit. If you hold yourself to that, you're holding yourself to something other than being human. There is no possible way anyone should be judging themselves as less spiritual if you've had, like, over the top overwhelm to the point where you're like saying the questions, what's the point? Like, I don't even know the point anymore, right? If you've dropped into those periods, that is normal for the contraction period that we are in. To pretend that we are supposed to because we're spiritual and evolved and enlightened, no. Anyone that tells you that is full of ego and full of bullshit and is not telling you the truth. Like, seriously. It is human to doubt, to question, to hit these periods when the rug has been pulled out from underneath you, where everything you thought was stable and certain is gone in time of transition and deconstruction before we get to that wonderful, beautiful transformation that we've been promised, the new era, the new age, the Aquarian age, and all of that. It's ugly getting there. And to hold this image of perfection during it, nonsense. Nonsense. So don't hold yourself to that, because if you understand that it's quite normal to have thoughts and feelings that are not all light and love and positive during a period where you see people hurting and suffering, that is called being human. Sit with it. Accept it. Don't try to change it right away. Don't get lost in it. Don't let it drag you down, but accept that this is part of this experience. We weren't meant to come onto this planet, this human experience, and just have all positive light and love and perfection. That's why change takes contraction, growth takes crisis, hard times. It doesn't happen in expanded periods. We have to be compressed in order for us to birth something new, because it's out of the things that we don't want, to experience the things that we don't want long enough, that we finally focus hard on creating what we do want. And truly across the board, that's what's happening on this planet now. We can accept a lot of things when times are good. Funny enough, we'll put up with a lot as long as we're happy, we're doing good, and life is good. But when everything starts to fall apart and life is no longer bad, all of a sudden we can't tolerate it because it's so uncomfortable. We're in the discomfort. Embrace that. Stop resisting it. I can't promise you that the energy is going to lighten up. Tomorrow is pretty explosive energy. Well, you got solar flares, big CMEs that are earthbound tomorrow. And that has been adding to the complexity of the energy as of late. Okay. The solar flares are shaking up our bodies. And the earth is having to absorb that added radiation and that solar energy as well, which is why we're seeing increase in earthquakes and volcanoes. Like, the earth is absorbing it. I'm curious to see how tomorrow shakes out. I think it's going to be an interesting day. If it's anything like yesterday, so yesterday's energy was weirdly very heavy and frenetic all at the same time, early part of the day. Like, it was so exhausting and so heavy, right? In the beginning of the day. But at the same time, there was like this weird frenetic anxiety that was happening. So while you were so exhausted you couldn't move, you were sitting in anxiety, weird, strange anxiety that wasn't even yours. If you're sensitive, that may be what you felt yesterday. And I mean, I talked to people on the East Coast that were feeling it, so I know it wasn't just here. It did finally lift a little bit in the evening. Today's been kind of like this. It's not been as heavy at all today. We get a little bit of a breather. After that solar eclipse happens, the sun begins to reemerge, right? So the sun's been obscured, and then the eclipse is the point at which Jupiter moves out of the way of the sun energy, which is how you face outward. Okay. We will be more outward facing. We will be able to engage again with the world after the eclipse tomorrow. Plus it's a new moon. A lot of stuff happening tomorrow. But tomorrow, if you guys are in Hidden Wisdom, you know, I said after that eclipse, the energy starts to shift. We won't see the full lightening of the energy until next week. So don't be upset if after tomorrow, all of a sudden life isn't much lighter. It may not happen to where you experience more lightness and more fluid forward motion until next week. And then it will not all of a sudden gain a flood of momentum. It's slow build. And I'm not going to say that September doesn't have its own sets of energies. I don't think it will be quite as disruptive and heavy feeling as what we've experienced for the last couple of months. I think we'll have a little bit of relief, and then things kind of amp a little again in October, and then changes for the month of November. December is where the energy then starts to shift more towards, okay, what are you going to create now? But right now we're in the midst of hardcore contraction, like just lockdown energy. Everybody in my neighborhood is having problems with their garden. People who've had flourishing gardens for years. Yeah, look, whether it's something in the water, something in the air, just the nature of what's happening, or the solar flares, I don't know. Nothing feels right. Everyone, for months, I've told you guys, like, food doesn't taste good. I don't feel like eating. And months and months. And now I see more and more people who are not tuned into energies coming out making videos saying food doesn't taste right. And suddenly there's this focus on our food supply. That's going to come more and more and more in focus and be a big part of it, because things are going to be more focused on home, on family for the next 4 or 5 months. So our food supply, our security at home, all those things are going to come more into the forefront. Power, water, all that stuff. You know, when I said years ago, when I stopped talking about prepping, that's when you should have already gotten your stuff done, I meant it. So I'm not going to come on here and tell you guys get prepared. Like, I've been saying that for years and I'm done talking about it. So hear what I just said. Read between the lines. I will try to stay on top of, I'm not making any promises right now. Like, I stopped my podcast too. I stopped producing everything because there was too much resistance. And part of that was spirit just really getting across to me this shift that has to take place in all of us right now and what we're being asked to do. Like, we are truly being asked to tune in to what your body needs, what your own personal energy is needing, and not forcing things. We have lived our whole lives in this place of force your way through it. Be tough, right? Buck up. Get through it. That's not the time we're in now. We're not in a place of force your way through it anymore. We are actually in a place of get into alignment. get into a place where you are clearly connected to what you're feeling and what your capacity is. And you're going to hear me use that word probably ad nauseum. But the most important part that I can say to you guys before I end the stream, knowing what your capacity is at any given moment and making decisions from the available capacity, given the energy at play, both outside of you and whatever's going on internally, that's where you need to stay tuned and stay focused. And if you don't have capacity for something, you owe nobody nothing. My foster daughter told me yesterday, she was at a horse show this weekend, and she was like, at Woodstock, she was like, I was in nature, like no cell signal, literally still felt the heaviness. And she goes, I came to this one conclusion, because, we've been talking daily about the energies and how to get through everything. She's like, the one conclusion I have, the only obligation I have on earth right now, and the only responsibility I have, is to exist. As far as to the universe, like, what's my obligation? To exist. If you can strip it down to that simplicity at this point, that your only obligation is to exist, it removes all of the self-judgment, all of the nonsense expectations that the world put on us, or your program put on you, or what. Like, if you have to take it down to that simple thing, just exist, but that gets you through the next hour, the next day, the next 24 hours, the next till the weekend, like, do it. And when we talk about being versus doing, that's what I'm talking about. If you have to sit on your couch to get through that day, then do it. If you are like just hanging on by a thread to get through your work day, but you're getting through it, don't judge it. It won't be like that forever, but I can't give you an end date, and that doesn't feel good. That makes you more anxious. I understand, but understand that that's why you're anxious, is because you have no end date. That's why all of us are feeling these waves, because we have no end date to the uncertainty. And the minute you realize that, funny, it calms it. Accept uncertainty. Accept that the energy you're used to having that propels you forward to live in the game isn't there or available right now. And whatever comes to replace that game of do and produce and profit over people, that part, whatever comes to replace that part, will be truer to what I think is real. But to get there, it's a tough, dark road. It's not going to be fun getting there. And I'm not going to come on here, whether it be as someone who mentors others or a psychic, and fluff you up and tell you it's all going to be okay. No, it's going to feel like crap. Some of the stuff that I see coming, I'm not happy about, which is why I have not wanted to come on, because I don't have anything nice to say. At least I didn't. I'm trying to be helpful. But what I will not do, and what I won't compromise on, is telling you the truth of what we have to walk through. And then hopefully being able to give you some tips and advice on how to walk through it and how to find ease in it. While it won't be easy, there's always a way to find some level of ease. And part of that is just not resisting it. Big part of it. Like, for people going, when's it going to get back to normal? It's not going to get back to normal. And thank God, because normal was so unequal, unfair, right? Normal was dysfunctional. We have to get to functional. And for the feminine energy to rise, the patriarchal energy, that toxic masculinity has to fall. And that's what capitalism and greed and power hungry authoritarians. That's what they're wrapped into. That's where the ego is so alive. So, how do we combat that? We recognize what is ego and we don't play there. We call it out and we don't play there. Fear, we'll talk about that in future live streams. For those of you in Hidden Wisdom, I will be doing a mid-month on, like, here in the next day or two. I'm going to jump on and do a stream for you guys specifically. Do a video. I'll jump on a Zoom and y'all can join me. And we're going to talk about what's coming up in the upcoming week. And then next week we have our monthly coaching. So that is one thing. As things kind of continue, I'll be updating you all in Hidden Wisdom a little more often because it's so intense right now. My capacity is starting to build as I figure out where my alignment is hitting. Like, what do I need to be doing? How do I need to be doing it? And while I don't have all the answers clear for myself right now, I have enough that I was able to get on tonight. And I hope it helped. Did it help? Is it worth coming back for? Because I really need to know. You know, there's a part of me that is very upset with these social media platforms and what they're doing. Like, they wiped a bunch of accounts off of Instagram and called it a bug. TikTok's become obnoxious and somewhat toxic. YouTube's changing the rules on how they monetize. Literally, like, it's just crazy to me what's been happening. So, of course, I haven't wanted to participate there. Substack, owned by Andreessen, not happy with the things he's doing, haven't wanted to, like, there's just all these places. And I've been in communication with Spirit enough, and even my guides, with, like, what do I do? And for the last 2 months, they're like, right now, nothing. You don't need to produce. Just get quiet, because that in itself is a message. It's like, okay, check, check. So I've not come on. Yeah, the TikTok app, it's gotten toxic as hell, right? Like, weirdly divisive in all, even the spiritual communities. But like I said, I just see so much nonsense on all the platforms right now. I did see that they might bring MySpace back, which, do it. I like MySpace. Made a lot clearer from the last weeks. It's good to see your face too, Miss Leah. Not your face, but your name pop up. Literally, like, I don't know. The way things are going right now, the AI slap, the content creators copying each other, just the nonsense of how people are raking up views, then the things I see on live streams, it bugs me to no end, bugs me. And at the same time, I want to be of service and help to get people through the stuff that everyone's going through. You know, I'm not going to say there's not going to be light. There's periods of light and relief through all of this. There will be. Look for miracles. Look for your own periods of relief, and they may be small. You know, I had a robin land on my fence earlier today. Just that one little bird made me so very happy. Take it where you can get it. You know, what we're not going to see, because the difference between contraction and expansion, and I'll talk more about this in future live streams. If you guys want to know, like, put in the comments, what do you want me to talk about? But what the difference between an expansion cycle is, during an expansion cycle, when you manifest, the energy is supportive of manifesting. It carries, the energy's carrying your desires into reality. During a contraction phase, you don't have that supporting energies, so it takes a lot longer. And then most people will give up and say it's not working. It doesn't work anymore. No, it still works. It just takes that much longer. And so little things will show up. And if you're not seeing the little things, you actually get in the way for the bigger things to actually unfold for you. But the period for something to go from thought to thing during a contraction phase, cycle, which is going to last for a couple decades, people. Like, the difference is, and I've not seen anybody talk about this, literally me and spirit. The difference is that we don't have the outward energies supporting and bringing things into being that didn't already exist. It just takes that much longer. So we got to hold out. And it can be very frustrating. And you can start to feel like there's something wrong with you and you're disconnected. And oh my God, what's wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with you. We're in a different environment. We're dealing with a different set of energies. It's a different cycle. What worked a year ago, 10 years ago, is not going to work now. And I think that the little manifesty teachers are finally going to learn that they left half the laws out, A, and B, that they don't account for what cycle we're in. Are you in a cycle of expansion or a cycle of contraction? Right? Do you guys want more of that? Do you want to learn more about that? Like, what do you want to learn from me? What do you want me to talk to you about? What do you not want me to talk about? Like, I'm a little averse to giving predictions on social media. I do it in my group, my hidden wisdom group, because I don't have to deal with all the hate flooding comments and crap. I don't necessarily want to go there. We'll see. I more so would rather, and I think but tell me if I'm wrong. I more think that helping you guys navigate what's happening as it's sort of happening is more helpful. But I might share some things that I got. I don't know. I'm just social media is so toxic with this stuff. The things most important for us to know. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to focus on manifesting because I feel like it's harder when the collective, so that it's not, it is harder to a point. Yes, you're right, Megan. Um, and what I was saying earlier in the stream before you got here is the way that we outcreate during an expansion cycle, it's different, way different. Like I started talking about and teaching this in Charm Life last week, is we're in like the laws are still there and still applicable, but they work very differently in a contraction phase than they do during expansion. So even writing above it, from what spirit was showing me with when the energy contracts, I always tell you guys, get into the penthouse. It's harder to get into the penthouse. There's a part of you that you can project there. And like, there's a whole long teaching behind this that I'm getting into in Charm Life. It's not the same. You still have, we all have to be riding through it. During the expansion cycle, it was easy to pop above whatever nonsense, right? But now you're collective, you're in the middle of that nonsense. So a part of you can project above it. It's a different mechanism, very different mechanism. Share the positive, too much negative. See, here's the thing though, Leah. Every one of the tarot readers, psychic-y people, and even coaches that I see out there, they're all talking as if we're living through the same shit that we just came out of. They're all talking positive, this and that. To speak, and I don't see what we're going through as a negative at all. It is what it is. It's reality. Like, I don't think that us judging it negative or positive, what I am judging things by is reality and truth versus illusion and lies. That's the dividing line for me. It isn't positive and negative. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, in order for anything to be birthed new, you have to have a contraction phase. You have to remove what exists right now. And what exists right now and has existed unequally as far as wealth, access to healthcare, to education, to just feeling safe. Those things have been unequal and off balance and not in support of the planet. So if you ask me, the deconstruction and contraction that is happening right now with natural disasters being also part of the projection is a positive because it will give way to what should have been. I don't look at it as a negative. It is just reality. Like, this is the energies we're dealing with, and this is what these energies are producing, and that's the honest truth. The negativity, there's a lot of negative things being done on this planet, and we can't hide from them because in order to create something new, you have to know what isn't working and what's dysfunctional and falling apart. So I get it's an overwhelm seeing all these things that are negative, but the reality is they do exist. People are being hurt by them. So we do need to kind of shift gears, see what it is, and then that's where the questions come in. Okay, what can we replace that with? What can we focus on to replace that? What do I need to say though about the moments of ease? What do you want me to talk about with them? Like, I don't know what to talk about with that stuff. I can do what I'm doing here, right? Like, I don't know. Do you guys, majority, tell me in the comments? Because I want to hear from all of you. Like, literally, get off the wallflower wall and tell me in the comments. The way that I've come on and the things that I've shared tonight in the stream, if you've been here for the majority of it, do you see it as positive or do you see it as negative? Because it will determine on if I come back and do any more live streams or even content, and B, what direction I go. Positive, positive. I got 2 positives over on TikTok. What about you guys on Facebook and YouTube? Positive, negative. I see it as positive support, knowing I'm not the only one. Exactly. Exactly my point. If you feel like you're the only one going through it, it feels horrible. And it's overwhelming because you're like, am I the only one that can't hold my shit together during this time? And I'm telling y'all, no, you're not the only one. Everybody's going through it at some level. You see it as advice. Angela's saying positive. I'm not saying it's negative. I'm just saying that you are asking for what we wanted more of. Okay. Well, so cool. I can do this. What I've done tonight. Like, this is authentic to me. The one thing this energy does not support, and this is the great part about why I've come back tonight of all nights. The shift in the eclipse tomorrow, what does it shift? It shifts no more performance. Like, on social media, the people who've been doing very performative kind of videos and posts and whatnot, that performative stuff, the energy doesn't support it past tomorrow's eclipse. What will be supported? Things that are trustworthy, people that are authentic, not AI, not scripted, um, real insights, right? Those are the things that will be supported. Well, the last couple months, a bunch of the nonsense was supported, a bunch of the repetitive BS that was going on social media, and it's accounted for why things went so toxic for a while. And I wasn't going to play in that energy. Like, I'm very specific about what, and I want you to hear what I'm saying because y'all should be doing this. I'm very conscious and specific about what energy playgrounds I'm going to show up and play in. And if that playground is not conducive for my ability to hold my capacity for my own stability of energy, I'm not playing. I'm just not going to show up. So if I go quiet, whether it be a day, a week, or another month or two, like I just did for 2 months, you know why. It isn't that anything's wrong with me. Y'all can reach out via email. If you're in my programs, you know I'm still showing up. Nothing about that has changed. What has changed is social media. What has changed is what I'm sending out into the general public, the people that are not current clients. Does that mean Dumpy goes by? I not yet, unfortunately. That one, Pat, you and I and many others would like to know that end date as well, and we're just not getting it. We're just not getting it. My internet keeps going out. I see everything as positive. It's important to know where the energy stands and what to do with it as things are changing, right? I know, me too, Megs. Tired of the angry mango. It's just the blatant lawlessness and disregard for human life and our taxpayer money, you know? Like, soon, I hope. I'm not going to make any promises because I haven't seen anything that strikes me as that's it. It's done. It's over. I don't know what they're pumping him full of injection wise, but it's something that's prolonging his life. I don't know. Like, but again, the energy that supports that corruption, the authoritarian build, that ends on October 31st. The astrological energy. It's it ends October 31st, right before the midterm elections. You guys are so funny over on TikTok. I've seen some promising new business. I hear ya. So I'll be back. I don't know when. Right now, I'm in it with you guys. I'm in it. You're welcome to email me. Like, email if you guys have anything you want to talk about, ask about, whatever, just email me. Go to my website, email me. If y'all are in Hidden Wisdom, you can email me or you can put it in our Facebook group. Or if you're in Charm Life, like, email me or put it in the Facebook group about what you're kind of looking to figure out through all of this. I can tell you, I have asked Spirit some very, very hard questions, and they give me very good answers about some things, and other things they're like, you don't get to know. And I think that's the most frustrating part for a lot of us that are intuitives. There's certain things about what's happening right now we don't get to know. We are meant to experience it in human form as well. And that's made it even more difficult. I'm used to knowing before things happen now. They do give me a heads up. But then what they've shown me over the last couple of months, not stuff I really want to come on here and share publicly. Goes into Hidden Wisdom. We'll talk about it there. And I'll talk about it in Charm Life. But publicly, there's a lot of stuff that I'm just not willing to put out into the public. Those people don't support me. And there's a lot of hate. And I don't need those people copying my stuff and saying that they were the original producer of it, because that's pissing me off beyond belief. The copying of videos and stealing of content, like, pissing me off. So, anywho, if since you guys think that for the most part, like, this is all positive, I'll be back. I will. I don't know when. I'm not going to make any promises. We'll see how this energy rides. If tomorrow I have energy, because tomorrow is the eclipse, I will come on. And we can talk about what sort of is lining up for the incoming weeks. We can talk about some of the messages or intuitions that y'all are getting. Um, and, thanks, Lola. I'm still working through some issues of clarity for myself. But like I said, if you're on my email list, then you know I opened up readings, limited number of them, but I did open up a limited number of readings, which I have not done. And I priced it affordably considering my normal rate. So if you want to get on my list for those readings, follow the links that I emailed out to my list, to those of you on my email list. If that link doesn't work when you do finally click on it, it just means there's no more spots available. I only opened a certain amount of spots. Doing readings is very exhausting. And so I limited, and while I will probably, for the next couple of months, because things are not looking easy, probably continue to offer them here and there and open them up when I have capacity. Like I said, you got to be aware of what your capacity is. You can get on my waiting list if it's not available when you do click on it. Okay. Just understand I'm only opening small amount of spots at a time, and it only goes out for so many weeks. I am literally becoming very, very aware of what my capacity is, how much I want to put myself out into the world. And I still have my private coaching clients that I work with and my groups. If any of you are interested in getting into hidden wisdom, just go to my website, go to Next Level. If you're interested in Charm Life, you want to learn what that is, go to Next Level. Those links are there. And yeah, I hope you guys feel better knowing it isn't just you and you're not crazy and there's not something wrong with you and you are not um, like defunct because you haven't been able to pull out of it. None of us have. None of us have been able to completely right above it at all. In fact, the more sensitive you are, the heavier this stuff has become because we're feeling it, not only what's coming at us individually, but we are feeling it for the collective. It does not mean you need to carry it for the collective. Just recognize when it's not yours and then stop trying to force your way through it. Best advice I can give you right now. For those of you on TikTok, if you go to my YouTube channels, you missed any part of this, you can rewatch the replay when it processes. I'll be back. I don't know if I'm going to be making content. We'll see. We'll see. I may just break up parts of the stream and post that as content. Right now, I'm looking for the easiest way to get through this energy as much as you guys are. So have a good one. I love you guys.